All right, guys, welcome to the show. Here we go. Today's Bushcraft A to Z is the letter J. J is one of those cool letters that looks like a cane upside down. Boring, right? Right? No. Okay. J. Today's letter is J, and it is for journal. Specifically, wilderness journaling, bushcraft journaling, all these things that make I do. Let's light a little fire, shall we? Come on. Let's try this again. This isn't working. Let's get a little bit more powerful. I'm just want to light a little bit of a candle here. Illumination is a good thing. Warms the heart. All right. Anyway, today's letter is J, and that's for journal, bushcraft journaling, and it's one of those things lots and lots of people discount. They don't really count it as very valuable. The value is in relearning the slow pace at which our ancestors lived. And a lot of people don't really connect that, and that's one of the reasons why this is one of the more valuable of episodes of the Bushcraft A to Z, is that life doesn't automatically give us things like peace and happiness and prosperity and all these things. These are the things we got to work for, or we've got to bring to. I tell my guys all the time. I say, life doesn't come pre-built with happiness. You have to bring your own. And as a result, it helps them be more resilient, more have more patience, and good Lord. Not patience. Endurance, not endurance. But the nin of ninja and ninjutsu is about enduring and keeping going no matter what. It's not about, doing a hand signal and disappearing or being the ultimate assassin or any of that stuff. That's sure that happened, but it's not what, if you want to live the art, then go ahead and be yourself a special ops guy or whatever. Those are the guys, modern versions. We learned the traditional side of ninjutsu to enhance our lives. If we don't do that, if we can't do that, then learning how to work a sword is very pointless. We'll keep on that until it actually works. All right. Portable tea hot water cooker. Thank you, family, for last Christmas's gift. I have used it lots. All right. The form at which your journal can take is multifold. You can get a simple little leather-bound book, blank book from places like Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. Um, even Walmart in the office supply section, you can get that stuff. The one I use oftentimes is a 6-ring binder. It's a little half book, so it's not like there we go. It's not like a full book that you would find. It's kind of like the half. And it makes it more portable. And I've got tab dividers because one of the things I do is I'm always learning and growing. If I see a plant that I want to eventually learn more about, I'm like, I don't know this plant. Is this a good one? Can I eat it? Can I? Is it medicinal? Is it poisonous? I'll go through these like 4 or 5 of them, I'm sure. It's all right. That's why they're cheap and plentiful. There we go. I redid it. I reloaded it with more wax, so it was difficult to light. That's all. All right, back in business. Journaling. I've got 3 tab dividers that separates the book into 4 sections. Edible, medicinal, or plants I want to learn more about. Tracks that I've seen where I can sketch the track. Record what it was doing, the environment that I saw it in other words, the soil content, as well as the weather and or climate of the conditions of the world, that area of the world. There you go. Things like that. The second one is the one, or the third section is the one where I go to contemplate things that I'm working on. So if I have something going on in my life and that life is having some problems or an issue that I need to work through, then oftentimes I'll go to the woods, take my journal, and write it out. So it's I'm combining a couple of different techniques. One of them is called rubber ducking. So one time, this guy, he was at an office, and he got let me get something. Here we go. It's a good old guy right there. My guy Fudo. It's just a little statue, Buddhist version of statue of one of their deity guys. These are not angry, but full of power. And, you know, he's got the rope in one hand where he holds back and restrains, you know, your squirrel moments, you know, your distraction moments. It keeps you focused. And he's got a sword that cuts through ignorance and other forms of distraction. It cuts through falsehoods that other people might send your way. So anyway, that's not the point. The point is you get this thing that can stand in for, represent another human being, someone willing to listen. Okay. And rubber ducking is the act of, look, I've got this problem. I've got this situation that I need to get fixed. And here are these people. Here's what's going on with it. And what happens is psychologically, when you do this, when you go through this situation where you get this thing and you talk to it as if it's another human being that's willing to listen and help you work through your problem. Good sounding board. You can even think of a person in your life that would be a good sounding board, but you don't have you can't access them quickly, or maybe you don't want to bother them, so you have a stand-in. Anyway, you talk through your system, through your issue, and you are able to somehow. It's a weird psychological pull your own strings type deal, where you find solutions. You find solutions to problems. So what I'll do is I'll put this in my pocket, and I'll bring my journal, my Bushcraft journal with me, and on that third section, I'll have a problem. I'll title that section. Problem with this, problem with that. Sorry about that. How do I do this? Let's see here. Not airplane mode. Do not disturb mode. Do not disturb. How? All right. We're alone. All right. So you get your journal. I'll bring something. I might not even have to bring anything. But I'll bring my journal into the woods, and I'll go into the woods. I'll maybe start a small fire. I'll get some tea on the or whatnot, and I'll just sit and write about it. Like if I don't bring my guy, then I'll pick a rock. If I sit for a second and like a squirrel skitters at a distance, I'll name him. All right, Toby, come on, talk to me here, and it'll help figure out what that problem is. Because and this is a thing, Einstein, I think that's the one. He's the one that said it. Yeah, it was Einstein. He said the no problem can be solved with the same mind that created it. One of the Kihon no Kihons, one of the basics of the basics a lot of people don't get with that phrase is the fact that they won't catch it. The mind that came upon the problem assisted in its creation. A problem cannot be solved with the same mind that created it. Okay? So you have to change the mindset, your state, your shin, as it is in Japanese, your heart. You change that to reflect a growth that had to happen. And going through this, rubber ducking, as it's called, helps you do that. So that's the third section. Fourth section is a place I like to leave blank for random stuff that just pops up. So working with the rope that ties through distractions, I'll, as a Gemini, as a dragon, and through life, whether they're medicated or not, I am less distracted than I used to be, because I keep throwing an anchor into the original reason why I was doing the thing. So I'll throw an anchor in there, tether it around my waist, and if I have to go squirrel, then I go squirrel for a second and come back. It's, I'm getting there, and I will get there, and I'm halfway there already, and I'm 3/4 of the way now. I'm there. With so many things, building the school, growing in my own training, um, doing the readings that I've got to read, uh, knowing where I am in my training, understanding that it's been a hard thing. Not hard. It's been a growth. All these things grow you, and I'll be going through one problem. I'll be in the third section, trying to write down one problem, and something that makes sense fixing this one problem also fixes like 3 others, oftentimes. Flipping to my section 4, number 4. Here's the problem. Here was the solution. Apply it to blank, 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 and blank. Flip back over. Keep working. What happens in the psyche? It's called the 3-day phenomenon. And if you spend 3 days in the woods, just close to nature, you can be at a park, at a designated location that's got at a camping location. You can easily, 3rd day, you'll slip into this. It's like your mind and your body realize that you're there. You're not leaving, and so it recognizes the new paradigm, the new situation, nature, and actively applies the new paradigm to the way you work with life. There's a thing I like to call the your contract with reality. So everyone has one. They don't know they have it. Most of people don't know that they have it. It's called the contract with reality. It is what you believe about yourself that you haven't yet changed. That's important. Some things you want to keep. Some things you realize are useful. And so you keep them. And other things are like, it worked. It used to work. And I'm not dealing with the same problems anymore. So I either need to change it or free up some space, free up some RAM. Free up some ROM, actually, because even though it's read-only memory, we are organic beings. Being organic, we can literally change our programming, our system, and that's what working through problems, exercising your mind, like math people do it all the time by going through more problems and word problems and letters and numbers and all this stuff. Everyone has a challenge to live up to and to grow into. And after growing into it, a new challenge will pop up. And we can complain about it, but what's that going to do for us? This is a wasted air. But one of the when you're in the woods for 3 days, so you look at me, I'm anchored, and so I can come back to it. When you're living in the woods for 3 days, just camping out. 3rd day, your brain shifts, and your thinking slows down. I want to make the analogy of a plumbing pipe. We've got a valve to it, and that's our brain to mouth filter. And we can turn the valve a little bit on, and some of the stuff comes out. There's pressure because our thoughts are wanting to come out, right? But our connection, our filter between our brain and our mouth is that little valve. And we get to turn it on as much as we want or as low as we want. In today's modern hustle and bustle city life, and if I'm not talking to you because you're in homesteading or in your woods already, then you're living the life, as hard as it may be. You're living the life. But anyone else who lives in the cities or or close to a city or a town or anywhere where human beings or lots of them exist, then you have lots of thoughts and high pressure coming through that pipe. Because if you have a thought, it wants to come out. And our filter is designed, our little valve is designed to let us stay social, be appropriate according to the situation. When we go into the woods and we're camping for 3 days, on the third day, our thinking, our thoughts relax, our brain relaxes, our mind takes a breath. And when you do that, the leaves are brighter, you hear more bird song, you see life emanating from rocks, trees, and just everything, dirt. And especially if you go barefoot, that's another thing too. If you go barefoot for 3 days in the woods, taking care not to step on stuff you're not supposed to step on. But if you go 3 days in the woods and go barefoot, it will still be 3 days. But on the third day, profound change. Something about the connection that really, really skyrockets you to a strong sense of peace, calm, harmony. Nature doesn't rush. Think about this. When's the last time you tried to push a cloud across the sky? You think someone does? Do you think it's beneficial if you're trying to grow corn and a small stalk comes up? Do you think it's beneficial to just pull it and grow? If you have an egg, let's say it's a chicken egg and it has an embryo inside that is fertilized. If it is time, based on science and what we've discovered about eggs, if it's time to hatch that egg, if you try to hatch it from outside, you will kill it. But even if it's late and you just wait, be patient, your chick will crack through that egg on its own. It's the struggle that needs it to live. It's weird. You crack it. If you go from the outside to crack it, you'll have a chick, and the chick will be alive and then will die shortly thereafter because it hasn't built into its memory the struggle for survival, the struggle to grow, and it's too tight. It needs to get out. It's not built in, and so it dies from lack of challenge. So take this for a minute and bring this into your life. If you aren't daily challenging yourself in some way, then let me suggest you're allowing the outside to crack inside, and you're dying a little bit every day. But if you Change comes. Change happens to us. But if we relax and let it just happen, then maybe we can go with the flow and something like that. But if we look at life and say, this might happen in the next few days, and you can prepare for it and get ready for it, at least here, then actively participating in life might just be one of the things, one of your new addictions. And what a thing to be addicted to. Loving life. There's another story. I had. Not just the eggs. I'll let that be there. All right, so today's thing is on journaling. Let's go back to it. Today's thing is on journaling. I've got 3 tabs separating the book into 4 sections. First one is edible medicinal, or new plants that I want to learn more about. So I'll describe it in the ways that I know how to describe it, whether it's venated leaves, leaflets. Is it a fern? If I see a flower, are the 5 petals and 6 petals? I go through into, you have to know the descriptions, colors. And then the second one was second one was something I was working on. Anything that I go into the woods for, to go and contemplate. Maybe it's about Kanan, or any of the things that are on the wheel of possibilities. Any one of them I'm going to bring to the center. The third one is oftentimes if I need to work through a problem. So the second one is actively going, let me progress forward. The third one is, this thing is holding me back. What can I do to fix it? To move it out the way. And then the last one, number 4, is anything that I might blank space, so that I have blank space, not used for anything else, that I can, if a insight comes up and I need to write that sucker down, I've got a space for it and I can go back to it. If you're not going into the woods and journaling, if you're going into the woods and journaling and not going back to it after you come back out, well, throw this in the fire. There's no point. There's no point at all. Let's see. We have our contest going. Some housekeeping going on now. We've got our contest. We went through A through J. Next one is K. It's going to be real interesting. If you think you know what it is, write the comment either in the text, in the chat box, or the comment box. It's always wise to do both, even though it doesn't count for an extra. Because if for some reason I can't access the chat, I can always access the comments. That's one of the reasons why it's an important thing to do. Redundancy. There's an old saying that says 2 is 1, 1 is none. And it has to do with, we're in survival, because oftentimes if you don't have multiple ways to do stuff, then it's not going to work the way in your favor. Anyway, we've got that contest going on. We've got our stuff here that I showed in the last one that's a part of that contest. And at the end of the series, going all the way to Z, Z plus 1 will be another live identifying our winner. Currently, he's a chef. I like to play on words. currently are, and I said it wrong. It's not a wizard, it's warlock. Got to get that right. Currently, it's you, buddy. Anyway, if anyone wants to jump on and give him a run for his money, by all means. Let's get some healthy contest stuff going on. Healthy competition. I think that's about it. I do want to spend a second in an opportunity for a book promotion, perhaps. Not my book, but I try to, though I do, where are we at? Let's get this one. Though I do favor the older way, the older books that talk about the stuff that I like. Ninjutsu being one of them, Bujinkan. I don't stay there. I think stagnation is really easy to get used to, and familiarity is something that's really easy to fall into as a trap. And so, even though I like the old ways of doing things, the old when Ninjutsu first came to America back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, something like that. And I got into it, I think, in the 80s. I forget. Anyway, I always still look at new books. So let me put this guy out. Excuse me. Ninpo Gairon. Gairon is an introduction. So basic principles of Ninpo, which if you don't get the techniques, get the Po. Get the way, the world, the knowledge of it. Forward by Masaki Hatsumi, authored by Alex. Let's see if I can get it right. Esteve. He's Spanish. He's got it in English though. This is an English book. Here we go. Let me read this for just a little second. In this new work, Ninpo Gairon, Alex Esteve Dai Shihan offers a fascinating view into the history and culture of the Bujinkan Dojo martial arts and the life work of its headmaster, Masaki Hatsumi. Now, this is before he gave some of the. It's actually here. Where's our? He's been in it a lot longer than I have, even though I was earlier. He stayed in it. $207. No. Second edition, 2024. Okay. All right. By looking at the traditions and practices of the 9 schools of the Bushcraft Dojo, this book gives the reader some insight into how traditional Japanese martial arts are transmitted, how the Ninpo arts differ from conventional schools of military technique, and how the wisdom of previous generations has been passed down to the present day. Good book. Very categorical in nature, and I like structure. If I don't have structure, I build structure. A lot of the arts of the Ninpo arts are structure damaging based. If you can't hold yourself up, if you're fighting gravity, then you're not fighting me. But anyway, wanted a little shout out there. We talked about our A to Z situation. Our next one is going to be K. KLMN, good stuff. But today was journal, and its corollary in our daily life is patience. The ability to slow down inside. If you're waiting in line somewhere, or as the guys across the pond say, in queue, if you're waiting in line somewhere, and you're upset that the line isn't moving forward, even if you don't show it, if you're in line and you're like this, and you're just like you're not being patient. You may think you're being patient by not talking about how upset you are that you're not in moving forward, that you're in this line that isn't moving forward, isn't progressing. But you're not being patient. You may think you are, but you're not. If instead you take that breath and you look around and you see the birds over that way, you look over this way and you're like, oh, look at that, that's pretty cool. I did not know a wolf track would be over here in the city. Oh no, I'm joking. Anyway, but wolves. Just it's a point of relaxation, and the idea, the concept, and the practice of going into the woods to journal gives you a base to then go back to. Go one time with a couple of sheets of paper and a pencil, a writing board, and just do it once, but stay there for a good long while. Not 3 days, but you don't have to go 3 days, but like we talked about earlier. But just go there and spend 1 hour. Sit and do nothing. Things will pop up. Write them down if you need to write them down. But if you force yourself, an hour is going to be a long time, and it's going to be hard for you to do. Most people get up at 14 minutes and go back. You're forcing your brain to reset, and it's a short way to do it, especially if you pay close attention. If you pay close attention to each minute as it's passing by, the watched clock doesn't tick, a watched pot doesn't boil. Watch the pot. Go make some tea. Watch the pot. Make time go slower, because then the lessons you learn, the skills of patience, you can take into the regular world, your daily life, and you'll have something to base getting patience when you're in a situation where you would normally not be patient. But anyway, that's where we are. That's what's going on. Good book. Go journal. It's a form of self-care. You're worth it. You're worth the self-care. So that's it, guys. I want to say something very important that I say often. You want to know what it is? Get lost, but never lose your way.